I have a lot of confidence in the countries of the United Nations Forum on Forests. And by the way, there are 107. We've just been endorsed to add 4 more. 197 countries around the world belong to this universal body, with 193 member states of the UN. They're focused on economic development and forests. And the critical issues surrounding that topic have to do with trying to grapple with an understanding of to what extent do forests and trees outside of forests help economies, or on the other side, do they cause problems? Are there problems associated with forests for economic development? Cross-cutting issue we've already learned in our preliminary work from the local countries up to the multilateral level is that there's a great deal we do not understand and cannot measure about how forests contribute. I fully expect that the forum will come out highlighting key, very important points for that economic development and forests are intimately twined. A very huge issue is the extent to which forests are managed and financing for that is available. And financing for forests has been on the decline now for 22 years. It's partly, there are a number of factors. It's not so much economic downturn as much, frankly, as going back to our previous subject, is that citizens, governments, private sector, all people of the world do not truly understand what forests contribute. And therefore, there's no basis upon which to determine the value of those forests and trees. Once it's understood, for example, that that most of the clean water of the world results from forests cleaning that water so that it's potable, drinkable, then we have a shot at starting to see some pricing go in, where it's understood that there's a direct connection with gross domestic product and exports and income, and also the other functions, climate change benefits, water benefits, biodiversity protection, which leads to ecotourism. I could go on, there are many issues. We have improved in understanding that there are the 3 elements, the economic, social, and environmental aspects of forests, and that people are starting to understand that they are very interlinked. So the sustainable development concept, not just being the environmental by any means, although that's important, but also being economic driver, an economic catalyst, livelihoods, also being social, bringing value to communities for their culture and for being able to live in the country, in the forest if they wish, or around it, rather than having to move to urban areas in order to make money. So there are many cultural and economic, social, environmental aspects to this that the world community has a chance to tap into. The biggest challenge is that forests are managed and impacted by many, many sectors and by many, many institutions, and they do not work together. Take, for example, in the government model, many governments house forest management in the agriculture ministry. And in the agriculture ministry, of course, which is producing food on a large scale, then forests become a very small area of attention. But worse yet, environment ministries are usually separate from forests. And yet, because of biodiversity, the Rio Convention's biodiversity, or climate change, or desertification convention, those ministries are looking simply at those areas and objectives, and they're not incorporating the sustainable use of the forest and the forest products. I'm very happy to be in the position of director of the Secretariat of the United Nations Forum on Forests, and I'm looking forward to the United Nations Forum on Forests 10 coming up from 8 to 19 April in Istanbul, Turkey, an absolutely beautiful city. And for that group of very serious leaders of the world in this area to grapple with these problems and to see what, this is appropriate to the forest analogy, to see what low-hanging fruit can be picked and what needs to be grown and developed over time so that eventually we're on a real trajectory to addressing the synergy needed between economic, social, and environmental issues.